wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
Good morning, SVG. Once again, you are listening to Activated Mornings on WEFM. At this time, we are in our Cop Chat segment. So along with myself and Roleza in our studios this morning, we have Corporal 793 Clifford Phillips of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. We also have Corporal Afino Haynes of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, Fire Brigade, and Auxiliary Police Constable Zakiva Alexander. Officers, good morning to you. Oh, wait, sorry. Before we get to that, my bad. Our topic this morning that we will be discussing is understanding fire safety and prevention. Officers, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you doing? All is well?
All is well.
Lovely.
Everybody in answer, nice.
Yes. Well, excited.
Oh, very good. Oh, I love to hear that. Excited. Love to hear that. Very good.
All right, lovely. So I like to give people the opportunity to introduce themselves. I love to let people hear you say your own name and whatever other titles come with that. So we will start with the excited officer right here on my right, Corporal Phillips. We will begin with you and then we will.
Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and our people in the diaspora. I am Corporal 793 Phillips, a member of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. I am attached to the fire department. I am also a certified instructor. I am trained in mass casualty, search and rescue, water rescue, disaster management, fire prevention, fire safety, and emergency medical response, emergency medical care. Am I forgetting anything? I believe
sound like you need to be my neighbor. That's what it sounds like.
Yes. And fire prevention, fire safety, also basic fire training, advanced fire training, wildland fire training, which I did in Jamaica with the Nike Academy. And that's
You sure?
Sure? Yes.
All right.
And brother.
Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am Corporal 347 Haynes of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. I'm attached to the fire department at Argyle Fire Station. I have several instructor training as well. I won't go into the training because in the interest of time and for the program.
Oh, it's longer than his?
I'll go on to the next person.
Thank you.
Good morning, St. Vincent. I am 001 Auxiliary Police Zakiva Alexander. I am attached to the fire brigade out at Argyle International Airport. And as Corporal Haynes said, I am one of his students.
I like your number though, 001. You know, like how you hear it's 007?
Yeah.
It's 001. That's a good number to have.
Thank you.
All right. So welcome to the studios of WEFM this morning. All right. So we're here to talk about understanding fire safety and prevention. What should we know? What are the basics that we should know? Let's start there.
Well, to start it off, you have to know what a fire is. And to define fire in as simple away as possible. You will see fire is a rapid and persistent chemical chain reaction which produces both heat and light. Now, fire is neither solid or liquid, but solid, liquid, and gas could all produce fire.
And also, it's as Caprolin said, it is neither solid, liquid, or gas, but it can be also defined as the fourth stage of matter, which is plasma. One of the things too as well is we must understand the fire dynamics and also fire behavior. It's very important to know how fire from the point of ignition and how it behaves in an environment.
Okay. All right. So in terms of fires at home, at work, because generally either at one or the other places, right? What are some of the types of fires that can occur? Let's start at home first.
Right. So fires at home, you could have cooking fires, right? Individuals might put a pot to cook their food on the stove, and it's on the stove. You get a phone call, or you're looking at a cricket match or some other sport, and you become a bit complacent that a pot is on the stove, and you could have a fire starting that way. Also, heating equipment. Some individuals may have wood stove or a coal pot or an iron. If you leave that iron on the ironing board for an extended period of time, you could also have a fire from that. You have electrical problems. Your home may have faulty wiring. And when individuals build their home and they move in, they will be in the home for X amount of years, and it is not until that there might be an electrical problem, then you would know. So after a couple of years, it's good to have a licensed professional come and inspect the home just to make sure that it is still safe.
Okay, before you move on, so you're saying after a couple of years, how much years should pass that you think it would be a good idea to have it, your home re-inspected?
Well, there's not a set time, but I would like to think that about 5 years should be suitable.
Okay.
You also, along with electrical problems, right? You would have overload sockets. Individuals may have one outlet, and you put an adapter in it, and you plug in all the other available holes for that adapter. That could cause the adapter to overheat, and then you have an electrical fire could start like that.
Yeah, just to elaborate on what the corporal has said, the overload socket, right? What we have to understand is each device has a different consumption occurrent. So we have to be careful what we are plugging into the outlet or the switch in order to avoid any risk of fire.
Right, and with damaged appliances, as humans, sometimes we're trying to save money. When our appliances get damaged, we like to play Mr. Fix It. We want to fix this, want to fix it.
I says Mr. Fix It. I want to Miss Fix It.
Sorry. Right, Mr. or Mrs. Fix It. Right? So it's best to get a certified technician when your electrical equipment are giving problem, whether it's a microwave, a fan. And a fan is important because a lot of times when you use a fan, you fall asleep with the fan, you are unconscious, so you might not be aware when it might have sparks and so forth. Candles and open flames, those are also a problem at home. If you light a candle, you should keep it away from windows as well as furniture, because then you could have an ignition.
Just to touch a bit on what the corporal had said, in reference to the fan, we know, well, I normally advise sports. So if you realize that your fan is giving problem, replace it, because it is better to spend $90 than to spend $200,000,
definitely,
$100,000 to rebuild a building. So precaution, replace the fan.
Of course.
What, just to go into a little bit more detail, can you specify when you say having problems with the fan? Because somebody might be saying, what kind of problem? Because I could probably change it to this problem, but if it's this problem, I could probably hold out a little bit longer. So,
well, most fan carries, well, they have I think it's a bearings in it and also capacitor. So when those capacitor goes bad, right, more than likely it's going to create a ignition, going to create a spark. So basically, I mean, we don't want to lose anything over that. So my advice, get a fan, replace it. I don't even believe in going and fixing it. Just get a new fan. you want at the end of the day now, you have to be going to the bank or going to the insurer. Well, most of us local, we don't have, our homes are not insured unless probably if you have a mortgage or if you have money like man like Teddy Glass, right? Well, as I say, but most of us, we are local, and most of us, our home will be insured, so it is better you take the precaution method and replace the fan instead.
Definitely.
And also I want to touch a bit on talk about the overheat, because there are some stove, is it stove, right? Electrical stove. Because I remember we had a report sometime, I believe it's last year, of a house fire. So we arrive on the scene, we do the necessary assessment, and entering the building, I observed that a pot was it was on the stove unattended. The pulse would have already exit the building. So the stove was it was left unattended on the stove. You could have seen the gas from smoke, the gas itself. So I think if you are going into the bathroom to take a shower, please turn off electric stove, turn it off until you are finished. Because like I said, it is better to have a $90 than for find $200,000.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, and with the outlets, so I'll get back to you just a minute with the outlets, because these are the things that are most commonly used. So as it relates to the outlets, we're not supposed to overload the outlet. No. So how many things maximum should we have plugged into an outlet, would you say?
Well,
or even the use of power strips, because I think the power strips sometimes, those are what end up being overloaded. Most
input would say 220 breakdown, and your adapter would say 13 amp.
Yeah.
So you just have to divide that. I would say.
But here now, I heard a lot of technical terms. So the people that don't understand all these technical terms.
I would rather say if you are using an adapter, I would say 2 devices the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds about
right. And I wanted to touch a bit on. It just slipped my mind.
Okay. And what about the extension cord?
And also, yes, devices. Sometimes we tend to use different chargers for different devices. That is not a good thing.
Oh.
It could lead to overheating. You ever hear about thermal runaway? Right. So thermal runaway is actually you're using something that's not fit for that device, and it leads to overheating. Overheating, then it ignites, and then a fire would start.
All right. And what I could probably also add as well too is cords that have already started to fray.
Right.
Yeah.
Replace.
Yeah.
Replace.
Because I could have been burnt at one point. But so I think that's another thing that many times we don't want to, again, take the money to just go ahead and we use electrical tape. Right. We tape up the frayed end, but it still is already loose. So, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Captain. Okay. Okay. Okay, I just want the excitement. So I am talking about laptop. I mean, we love our laptop. We might want to watch a little movie.
We sleep with them on your bed.
We sleep with them. It is dangerous.
Very much.
Leaving a laptop unattended, especially on a bed, you leave it there for charge, or you leave it on, and then you decide I am going to run on the road and come back. That is very dangerous, because what happened now? It would overheat, and it would turn into a process called thermal runaway. I mentioned that before, and that would create a fire. You ever heard about lithium battery?
Yeah.
Right. So we know most devices these days are made of lithium battery, and once it starts, a problem for us. So we have to be careful how we use in our devices. Well, that's another time.
Right.
Corporal, eh?
Right. And the next thing to pay close attention to is cigarette butts. You know, when you use your cigarette, you either get an ashtray for it or you make sure that it is properly extinguished before you throw it away or discard of it.
Okay.
And at work now, at work, you have industrial processes. You would have welding, cutting, and so forth. Now, I want to touch on the atmosphere, right? In ambient air, you have 78% nitrogen. You have
Let me
20.
Google what is ambient air because
Right. In natural air, the air
All right.
surrounding us,
Okay.
right? You have 78% nitrogen, 21% around, about 21% oxygen, and 1% other gas, right? Now, in industrial fires, industrial processes, sorry, like welding and cutting and other industrial processes, sparks and heat could lead to fire,
Right.
right? You also have the electrical equipment. If you have faulty electrical equipment, wire and machinery, those could also lead to fires. You have chemical storage because they may store flammable chemicals. Now, there are certain containers that are rated for storing of these sort of chemicals. Individuals in their respective jobs, they need to use the suitable equipment, the suitable containers for storing these sorts of things.
Okay. And what about
Anything else? Yeah.
at the workplace? What about transformers? Is it advisable to?
Yes, I think that is the one I was trying to
Okay.
remember.
All right.
I remember we had an encounter, we had a report because most of these, what we are talking about is experience we actually had in the past. We had a report of a possible house fire somewhere out in, in Bile area. So
All right.
when we arrived on the scene, we realized, well, there was smoke coming from the house itself. So smoke is considered as gas because it's a byproduct breakdown of hydrocarbon. So we went inside, we did our necessary because you don't just enter a building without assessing your scene, identifying your hazard. So we went there and then I venting. Whenever you're entering a building, venting is far more important, especially when you're already inside, because venting helps to get rid of some of the gases, smoke particles, as you say. So I observed that there was a transformer placed in a corner. It was plugged up to the switch, right? And well, that was really, that's where the fire actually ignited. It was char. In other words, it was born. So it is not safe enough to say when you are charging these things, have them in a closed area where heat is. As far as we see, every mechanical propellant need air, it need a farmer cooling too as well. So we have to be careful how we place them when charging transfer.
So then it would be wise now for builders to know, or I should say electricians, when they're wiring the houses, to know where to put these
place them.
outlets.
Yes, please. Yes, where to place them.
And let's say if you leave in your place of employment that uses a transformers, is it wise to turn them off from the switch?
Yes.
Would it be wise?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Well, that is providing that the fire is not by the switch.
No, I mean
No, in
as
terms of-
preventative.
yeah.
As
Oh,
preventative.
preventative, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's wise.
All right. So, Constable Alexander, we're not going to leave you out of this conversation. All right. What are some of the basic firefighting equipment that person should have within their household to help manage fires, small fires?
Well, some of the basics equipment that I think they should have is like in St. Vincent, not many people could afford a fire extinguish. So basically water.
All right. Well, I from a previous hot chat, I was told that water doesn't out all fires.
No.
Right. So
Yes. Well,
Okay. Well, water doesn't out all extinguish all fires. There are actually 5 classes of fires, right? Class A, B, C, D, and K. Class A fires are ordinary solid combustibles. You have things like paper, wood, and cloth. Class B fires are combustible liquids and gases. Liquids like petrol. You have diesel, you have gasoline, and gases like propane and butane. Class C fires, in common dialect, Vinci dialect, we say current.
Correct.
That is energized electrical equipment. Class D fires now are metallic fires, right? Like sodium and titanium. And class K fires, we skip all the rest letters and reach to K. K fires are kitchen fires, right? Like fats, combustible fats, and oils. So you use different extinguishers, different agents based on the class of fire.
all right. So let's break it down for real life home scenarios. Right. I'm home. I'm cooking. Somehow my pot catches a fire. What should I use to out that?
Well, there are several things you could use. Let's say it's a frying pan and you have oil in the frying pan and it overheat, and that frying pan has a cover. Once you could reach to the frying pan, the best thing to do is to put the cover over the frying pan and then turn off the stove once you can. Reason being, as I stated above, the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, fire cannot survive without oxygen. Just like humans can't survive without oxygen, fire is similar. It can't survive without oxygen. So now by putting the cover over the pot, you are smothering the fire. So whatever fire is inside of the frying pan, it would use up all the oxygen in the frying pan, and then it would extinguish for itself. If not, and you have a fire blanket, you get the fire blanket, you protect yourself while approaching the fire on the stove, and you cover the pot with the fire blanket, making sure to try and get a complete seal. Then you turn off the stove, you turn off the gasoline, the gas once you can.
All right, so let me just touch a bit on what the corporal and I think what Alexander meant is that when she mentioned water, she was talking about a water-based extinguisher, right? Because there are different types, as the corporal mentioned. There is the wet chemical, which which is most recommend for kitchen fire, which is a class K fire, and there are also the carbon, the foam, and the help me out, man. Carbon foam.
Okay, right.
And,
so the wet chemical that is normally used for the kitchen fires. What that actually does is by applying it to the oil or fat that is burning, it creates a film over the oil, and that separates oxygen from getting to the oil, so the fire extinguish. You have the carbon dioxide extinguishers. The way that one works is that it displaces oxygen, and it is also cold. The air that comes out is cold as it is expanded. So that one you would use for electrical fires mostly. Reason being, it is air, so it is a clean form of fire extinguishment.
What is same kitchen fire? It's a process called sulfurification, where the alkaline, which is the amino, they are mixed, which creates a layer, stop the flow of oxygen, right? And also I forget to mention about the buildup of grease in reference to stove. We should avoid the buildup of grease because that also can lead to fire as well.
Yes.
Okay, so my fan is plugged in and I'm seeing sparks at the outlet. What to do there? At where it's plugged in, what to
Try to reach the socket breaker.
Yes.
With a piece of stick or something.
No.
Oh, the socket. Oh, yes. Oh, true. It's the socket breaker.
Try
Oh,
to
yes.
reach
It's
the
true.
socket breaker, turn it off, and then you can, no electricity. Okay. With electricity, it is classified a class C fire, which is an electrical fire. Once you get rid of the electricity, it becomes a class A fire, which is an ordinary combustible. So without the electricity, you would not get the sparks and so forth. And then you can deal with it as you would deal with a class A fire, which is normally by cooling the burning material.
All right, so I guess one of the useful tips as well would be for parents to teach children where the circuit breaker is and also how to turn them off, because we know that there are situations where children are at home by themselves and fire starts. All right, so in the context of an electrical fire, this is what should be done, but parents also should teach their children.
If you can't unplug it, turn off the circuit breaker.
Would you advise pulling it out though?
No, if there's no spark in there and you can unplug it, then you unplug it. But if you can't, then you go straight to the circuit breaker.
Also, there are some few more equipments as well in terms of household. We have the fire extinguisher, we have the fire blanket, we have the carbon monoxide detectors. Well, with the carbon monoxide detectors now, in case you have a gas leak, it would be able to tell you that, give you the ratings at the gas leak. Because we know gas leak leads to gas poisoning, right? So it would be a good equipment to have around in the home as well. So a fire alarm, smoke alarm too as well.
Also, something that you must have, whether at home, at school, or at work, is a fire plan. You need to have a fire plan. A fire and emergency evacuation plan. That is very important, because if there's a fire and you have to get out of the building, you have to know the route you would take to exit the building. And not only getting out, because if 5 people come to work and you're only seeing 4 outside, automatically you think 1 is inside. But if you don't have a meeting area, what we call a muster point for everybody, then everybody could be out and you're still panicking, thinking somebody is in. So it's important to have a muster point, also to know the route to get out of the building and to do a head count and have somebody who would be in charge of seeing that all of that is done appropriately.
And a very effective plan with points of egress and ingress. Because you want to know.
Say exit and
exit.
I know it's how to breathe that down because I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
All right. So I want us to stick up in right here. We're going to take an ad break and then we will be right back shortly.
Do you want to feel clean or refreshed after using the bathroom, whether at home, work, or play? Welcome to My Smart Toilet Seats. All of our products wash your private parts after using the bathroom without the use of your hands. Let's hear what our national table tennis champion, Damian Dublin, has to say.
I tried it and it works. There are 4 options. Simply add an attachment to your existing toilet seat, or choose a non-electric seat, or better, an electric seat that washes and dries you with warm water and air. Lastly, get a complete smart toilet that also flushes itself. What are you waiting for? Get your smart toilet seat today. Be smart, be refreshed, be clean, be a winner like me.
Our smart toilet seat is available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. You can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website at justwashit.vc.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry. We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Live it, love it, embrace it.
That's the sound of your animals. Strong, healthy, and delivering yields you love. That didn't just happen. It began with you feeding them only the best. East Caribbean Feeds. Rest assured, we only produce your feeds with premium ingredients, no hormones, no animal byproducts, just everything your animal needs for maximum nutrition. Because your animals deserve only the best. East Caribbean Feeds for maximum nutrition.
ECGC has slashed feed prices by 8 to 10%. Check your local supplier for more details. ECGC, providers of feed for maximum nutrition.
Cloud9 wants you to know that they're having their biggest sale ever. Save between 50 to 80% on everything store-wide. Shoes and clothing for the whole family, toys, household items, swimwear, and more. Don't miss out on this crazy sale. Everything must go. What are you waiting for? Get it before you miss it. Offer applies while stocks last. Some restrictions apply. Cloud9 is open Mondays to Fridays 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
WEFM is SVG.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
And signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes. Erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
And we are back with our cop chat this morning right here on WEFM. Along with myself and Roleza in studio this morning, we have some members of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, Fire Department. We have Corporal Clifford Phillips, Corporal Afino Haynes, and Constable Zakiva Alexander. Right, and we are discussing this morning understanding fire safety and prevention. So just before we took the break, the officers were mentioning the importance of having a fire drill and a fire plan. So we're going to get right back into that. We start with Corporal Phillips or Corporal Haynes?
Or Alexander.
Right, so the importance of having a fire drill or a fire plan as part of the preparedness, right? You have to consider familiarization with escape routes, right? When you have a fire plan and you do the drill, you would go through the route that you would take to exit the building to the muster point, as we explained, is a meeting area external of the building in a safe location. Also, you would learn how to identify hazards, because when you're going down the steps and it's one individual at a time, obviously you won't see a problem. But when everybody's trying to exit and there might be some boxes by the step and you exiting now, and two or three individuals can pass quickly, then you know that is a potential hazard. Practice emergency procedures. It also helps you to practice the emergency procedures, because you would have the procedures that you have to carry out during the fire drill, and it's only by practicing them you will get to learn them. Some people say practice make perfect, I don't believe anything is perfect. So practice for me makes permanent. So it will be permanently in your mind. Yes, this is the procedure I have to carry out. And also coordination, because there would be a fire officer. Businesses normally have someone who would be in charge of seeing that if a fire warrant or fire officer, somebody in charge of seeing that the process goes through that it is supposed to. And other people would have other duties that they would have to carry out if there's a fire inside of the business place. So it would help you to practice the procedures. Also, it boosts confidence because you do it a couple times, say, man, if a fire is to happen, I know exactly where I'm to go, I know how to get out. I have it. And also, if there's a fire, individuals tend to get anxious. So doing it a couple times would help to decrease that anxiety so that you could be calm. And how does it save lives? It reduces panic. You won't panic if you practice. Or you should not panic if you practice. It improves response time. You do it a couple times, you know exactly what you are supposed to do. You would do it in quick time. And the normal time we say is between 2.5 to 3 minutes.
I was got 2 minutes.
Right. Well, and then again, that would depend on the place you're evacuating, right? And it identifies and it addresses hazards, because carrying out the process of a fire drill, you would see potential hazards and potential things that you could work on, and it enhances coordination of the efforts.
Especially in institutions where you deal with children, you need to be aware, need to make sure that they know how to respond properly. So you don't create more harm.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna present you with a scenario. So I'm at home. There's a fire. Something. Not gonna specify what caused the fire. So there's a fire. There's smoke in my house. I run outside, but wait, I just remember I left some money inside. I just hit that money at the bank. I need to go back in and get that money. I also want to go back in for my laptop because I cannot afford to buy another laptop right now. I have a really nice outfit. I was planning to go out this weekend. I'm not going to be able to order something in time to come and collect so I'm going back in for my laptop, my money, and my outfit. I could hold my breath.
Even here you say you're going for your qualifications, you're going for outfits, but anyhow, I understand this scenario.
Yes. So I know that I could hold my breath and run inside and get my things and my documents to my birth certificate, my as Roleza mentioned. So am I correct in doing that? So address that scenario for me. Should I do that or should I not do that?
Right. Well, let me start off with the documents that the other operator was speaking about, right? The documents. You could get a fireproof bag, right? And you put all your essential documents in that bag so that even if there's a fire, they would be safe.
Let me make a list, yes? So fireproof bag.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
A fireproof document bag. I researched them recently. The price is around 9 to about 20 US online.
Okay.
So they ain't too expensive, but you could save all your documents for you, right?
And then earlier you spoke about the blanket. What was that blanket?
Fire blanket.
Fire blanket.
Yeah.
Make him a list.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Right. So, what is more important to you? That is the question. The material things all your life,
right.
because at the end of the day, you could get back and double those material things. But once your life is gone or you get injured going into the fire, then you can't get them back. You understand? And also, you might know that the fire is in a particular part of the house, right? And you might say, okay, the fire is in the bedroom. What I want is in the living room.
Right.
The living room, you're working on your computer, it's in the living room. But fire is not the main thing that kills people or cause people to get injured. It's the smoke. Smoke inhalation will get to you long before the fire does. So even if the fire is in a room and you say, boy, I go and run back in and get that, it is not wise to do so.
All right.
You're going to die from asphyxiation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question. So we know that oxygen fuels fires, right?
Yes, please.
And in the case of leaving, running out of your home, would it be wise maybe to close up the doors, close up the windows so that we can choke the fire in that sense?
Yeah.
What would be advised there?
Well, we have a saying, if you cannot control the fire, try to contain it. So you identify the location of the fire. It's in the bedroom. Sorry. Yeah, so it's in the bedroom. What you can do? Well, I believe the window is closed, right? Close the door.
Figuring out scenarios.
What is going to happen now is that the hydrocarbon that is inside, okay, let me not say hydrocarbon, the material that is inside, simple terms, while they are being broken down, the behavior, the fire behavior itself is going to slow down because the door is closed, the oxygen is being replaced by carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide based on the amount of oxygen that is present inside the room. So it either carbon dioxide or it's going to be carbon monoxide. And if you are to find yourself in that room, knowing that you're going to be competing with the gases inside the fire itself, you're going to lose your life. So it is wise that you leave all your personal belongings and you get back something, man. It's better than spending $4,000 on a casket.
And that's not even you paying for the casket.
So you understand? You have to pay. But you could probably become and borrow a loan. You could go to one of those institutions and borrow a loan or something. Instead of you, that money has to spend on you that you're gone. It's better you go and borrow the money. You know, cut your losses.
All right. So if a fire's there, close up the windows, close the doors.
The fire itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it makes reduce the spread of the fire.
Right. Right, so it makes our work as the responder. So you call for help, don't forget that. So you call 911, you get on to the boys them at Kingston. So that now would in terms of time.
So the numbers are 911, 999. If you call in direct, is 457-1211. That would take you to police control, and you tell them that you are reporting a fire. They would connect you with the fire department. So 457-1211, that is the direct number for police control.
Right. So it slows down the fire behavior for us. So we responding to that fire now. It kind of saves us time. And also, let's not forget, right? In terms of fire behavior itself, for a small structure, it would take 1 to 5 minutes to become a fully developed fire. If it is board, that kind of material. A larger building would take 1 to 15 minutes in terms of the fire behavior. How it spread, and it would base on the fuel type, the fuel availability, and the fuel amount, what is inside that building. So between 1 to 15 minutes, you would have a fully developed fire, right? So, sometimes we receive call there's a fire in Belair. And it would take us about, like, say, 30 to maybe 30, because we are looking at factors that might hinder us from getting there. So, 30 minutes, and, based on the structure of the home, so 1 to 15 minutes, we are not going to meet that house at a road stage. And most people, when they make the call, the fire already going. Right. So, and no fire is going to wait on anybody, right? Based on what is present.
Right, and fire has 4 stages. Ignition, when it starts, fully growth, when it begins to grow. That is like it's spreading to the curtains, the mattress, the other things. And then fully developed is when almost every fuel within the area is born. And then you have decay. That is when it's like coals and ashes. Right. So
right. So as the corporate say.
Oh, now I remember my point. Yes. So no, the reason why I mentioned the stages. Good. When a fire happens, individuals don't do what is one of the most important things sometimes, is to call the fire brigade. They don't do it initially when it is in the ignition or just starting phase. They try to fight it for themselves, and then when it is in the fully developed stage now, that is when they say, boy, this fire out of hand, and we call the fire department. The best thing to do, once there's a fire, you call the fire department, and then you try to see if you can extinguish it. If it is safe, remember the 4 stages. If it is in the ignition stage, when it just started, I just start the growth phase, then you could try. But once there's a fire, the sooner you call us, the sooner we could reach.
Okay. And Alexander, is there any tips that you can give to us with regards to certain fires, let's say bushfires, or even fires, some persons burn their own garbage, which we're not advocating, but some persons do that. So are there any tips that you can give to us regarding that? Fires on properties, let's say bushfires, etc.
I'm not too quite understanding the question.
Okay, so if somebody is they're burning bush in their yard, right? Are there any tips that you can give us with regards to that?
So as not to cause that fire to spread to
right.
other things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for instance, like in a yard, you're lighting a bushfire, right? So you will like look around to see like if there's like a wire, a board or something around wherever you heap the pile.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if there's a wire, you could say, well, if you light the fire, then the wire maybe
you may catch fire.
Like, yeah.
All right. Okay, you can help.
If I may, right, Corporal. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad you asked that question. Right. I have to touch on this. While there may not be a law in terms of burning of garbage or debris, there are also other laws that could relate to that burning of debris, because under the Criminal Code 171-295 subsection 1 and 2 states that any person reckless or careless uses or carry fire could be liable for 3 months. And it also said under subsection 2, any person carelessly use fire within a town or village would be penalized for such an offense. Liable like for a year in prison. So I mean, while you may say, boy, you could burn from 6 to 6. If that fire endangers the life of a person or property, you can charge the person for negligent with fire. You can look it up. It's on the internet.
Okay.
So Criminal Code 171-295, subsection 1 and 2.
All right. I think.
Okay. Well,
go ahead.
In terms of burning garbage and those sort of things, you have to make sure that the surroundings is clear. So when you ignite it and you're burning the garbage, no other form of fuel around it would ignite as well and cause fire spread. Because sometimes when we have bushfires, the cause of the bushfire is an uncontrolled fire, as well as house fires could be caused from uncontrolled fire. You burn the garbage too close to your home, too close to your garage, too close to your hut, if you might have a hut that you store things.
And I suppose another thing as well too is don't leave fires unattended. If
Yes,
you've
please.
lit a fire, you cannot just walk away.
Yes.
I stay there and watch it.
Right.
You have a hose close by, you have a bucket of sand, a bucket of dirt close by, just in case.
Frankly speaking, I think most of the bushfire that happens in St. Vincent are from human error. People would deliberately light those fires, especially in areas that are prone to fire. They would deliberately light them. I'm not saying, well, all the fire would be of human error, because some fires still consider, we have different, what do we type in terms of, you have accidental, you have natural, you have incendiary. That's when you cannot prove that a fire is arson. So you have your incendiary fire, a fire that you know that is not supposed to happen.
Intentional.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. I think we could take some questions. Do we have any questions from any listeners?
Not quite. I think in most of the
they've been answered. Okay, lovely. So there is a talk that the fire truck often shows up and they don't got no water. Officers.
Seeing I am the operational firefighter. I'm the one who is based in Kingston, and most times
So
that
you want to get any licks?
yeah, I'll take the licks because well, that is not the case. That is a misconception between the public. That's well, it's their opinion, but it's a misconception. When we are leaving the barracks, we have to leave with the truck with the full capacity of water. When we are returning to the barracks, we have to go back with the truck with the capacity of water, whether 300 or 400. We cannot return to the barracks with an empty truck. If you are talking about we are on a scene where all the water would have already been used up, and then we have to go at the hydrant to replenish, fine. I could say, well, yes. I mean, we are going to fetch water from the hydrant. But there has never been a case where the fire truck is empty.
Shut up without water.
Shut up without water. No. One of the misconceptions as well is that
where did I come from then? Sorry.
the rate. I mean, come on. You have a truck with a capacity of 300.
But why was it that I'm sure at some point I heard because of our terrain, this is why the truck doesn't carry
I heard
water.
that a while back.
No. The truck is always full. Always full. The corporal says. And the issue is, however, is the capacity of
the capacity. Yes.
If the truck only carries 400 gallons of water, and you see the hose we use, they are not garden hoses, some big hose. So a lot of water will be expelling from the truck. So it won't take a long time for the full capacity of water to reach to none. Now, what would be ideal for us is if there's a fire hydrant close by, where we could have a flow of water coming through the truck while we utilize the water that is present on the truck. So it would be a continuous flow of water, so we could spout water on the fire until whenever it is extinguished. But once the capacity of the truck, it becomes empty, we have to go to the nearest hydrant, refill, and come back. And it's when we leave now to go to the other hydrant to refill and come back now is when they would say the truck came empty because the water finished quickly.
Yeah. Look at an example. The other day we went to Dash Satcher Hill. Where is the closest hydrant? Where? So
that is something that needs to be addressed
there are areas in St. Vincent and in Grenadines, I think hydrant can be placed to help to minimize and things.
So question, so in recognizing this, so from your department standpoint, do you make periodic checks within villages, especially that's in new developments, etc., to suggest where fire hydrants can be placed? Because is one thing, yes, you come with the truck for water use, and then you have to go and try to figure out where the hydrant is. How's one done in that time?
Yes. So we more or less know where all the hydrants because we do checks when new areas. We also check to see if they have fire hydrants.
Right. So we make recommendation too as well. We work hand in hand with CWSA. So we make recommendation and they will do their part as much as we will do our part.
All right.
All right.
But you know, in some areas, the pressure and the water may be a little low at times. So.
All right.
this not anyway. Let me leave it alone. Right? Let me leave it.
No. That brings us to the end of our cup chat here this morning. We were discussing the topic understanding fire safety and prevention. We had with us Corporal Clifford Phillips, Corporal Afino Haynes, and Constable Zakiva Alexander of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. They are attached to the fire department. At this time, I'm going to allow each one of you to say your final piece. So one final thing that you would like to leave with our listeners, and I would love to start with Alexander. Yes.
Okay. What I will leave with the world is that try your very best to have a fire plan, as Corporal Haynes stated. Also, teach the children, like, if there's a fire, what to do and how to do it. That's what I want to say.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I would touch back on the topic of having a fire plan. It is not only for businesses, it is also for homes and schools. It is important to have a meeting area external of the building where you could meet in the event of an emergency. If you're at home, you could go through the fire drill with your kids. And also at that particular area, if you could have a bag where you could secure certain things external of the house, that would be good because individuals might be asthmatic. You could have an inhaler. We call it inhaler. Yeah, you could have that in that bag external of the building. Also, fire. When there's a fire at your home, call the fire department. Don't wait until the fire is out of hand to call the fire department. Call us as early as possible. Exit the building, call us.
All right.
I just want to say practice good fire prevention and
Yes.
absorb your surrounding. Be a good neighbor. Not go burn up if your neighbor close by where ask your neighbor we're going at. So and let us be our brothers keepers in terms of time and need. Assist one another, be a good neighboring. But most of like practice good fire prevention and fire safety.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, officers. It was a pleasure having you here. I hope you enjoyed your session with us.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, all right. Lovely. A very informative session here. And that brings us to the end of our COP chat right here on WEFM. And we are going to head into our ECCB currency exchange rates.